right, welcome back. In the Preakness Stakes aftermath, let's talk about it. I'm CC Broaddus, and I'm joined by the chairman and CEO of FatBallGuyRacing.com. That's Dan Cronin. Dan, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm glad Jeff bailed us out Saturday.
Yeah,
Jeff
indeed.
loved Napoleon Solo, and he added it to the bottom of the sheet that's who he liked. And I got a lot of emails where people added him. So I was glad I added him in the Black Eyed Susan Preakness double, but that's the only thing I hit pretty much the
You know,
whole day.
it was one of those races where you're going into it. It's like, my goodness, anybody could win this race. This race is terrible. These horses are slow. You don't have any of the good 3-year-olds running in the race. And then they run the race, and it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. Napoleon Solo had that big race as a 2-year-old. You had Iron Honor that had big figures outside of the Wood Memorial where he had trouble. And then, the third horse, Chip Honcho, was the horse that gave Paladin, who everybody thought was the Pro Tem Derby favorite. Everybody thought, he was a decent horse. He just needed the trip, and he got up for third, and it was like, well, I guess it did make sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all overestimated the pace. I mean, most of us. I even said in our preview, if I used a speed horse, this is the only one I would use. But I was so convinced that it was going to melt down, and it just didn't. The other speed, I mean, 46.66 is not that fast. It's just an average pace. And, they Iron Honor sat third. Chip Honcho was like fifth. So they were right behind the couple speeds, and none of us liked Taj Mahal. I thought that was probably the worst favorite of a Triple Crown race in my lifetime. When they kept betting on him, I was like, what are they looking? I even had a guy in the VIP room at Turfway say, what do you think of that horse? I'm going to bet a big bet on him. And I was like, why? He has no chance. There's no way he can win. He has to go wire to wire, and he can't. So, how was he favored? I have no idea. But Napoleon Solo was very logical, and you ended up getting almost 8-1. Iron Honor was 8-1, and he was logical. I mean, we didn't like either one of them that much. Jeff did. So I'll give him credit for that. And the horses I liked the best, Ocelli and Incredible, Ocelli just didn't fire. I mean, he ran a bad fourth. I mean, he was just kind of plodding around and never really made that push button move that I thought he would make. And then Incredible, I thought got a horrible ride. Just my opinion. And many others on social media pointed it out. I thought he would be in that second flight, maybe sixth. He was 13th down the backside. How? What was he doing?
Maybe he was ridden like a horse that was expecting a pace meltdown, like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's what I think. He must have read the clippings and said, boy, this is going to melt down. I better take
Right.
him back. And he took him back all right. He took him right out of the race. But he ran fifth. My evaluation of this race is Napoleon Solo's a little better than we thought now that they got him right. And he did have excuses, and Chad Summers was talking about him before the race. They just couldn't get him to where he needed to be. They knew he had some foot issues in the wood, and they had to overcome that. And plus, he wasn't running the numbers that he ran in the Champagne. He ran a 9 on the rag sheet in the Champagne, and that was good enough to win this race. So all he had to do was get back to that, and he did. And Paco, I thought, man, what a masterful ride he rode to pull off the speed just a little, to get him away from that horse on the first turn, re-engage him down the backside. I mean, that was a top-notch ride. And screw PETA, he didn't do a damn thing wrong. He did not hit him too much. He was not over aggressive. He waved the whip at him a bunch of times. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. And Iron Honor, I thought Pratt rode him good. He just didn't want the distance. He needs to turn back to a mile or 7 furlongs. I mean, I would try to put him in that race, that 3-year-old 7 furlong. Was it the King's Bishop? I would put him in that. I mean,
Alan Jerkins now.
he don't want anything. He don't want no mile and 3/16. He just don't. Maybe a mile and 16th, but I would turn him back. Chip Honcho, I thought ran a very good race, but probably wants to step back a little bit in competition. And Ocelli needs to go to a maiden race and then a Nana 2 life and build his confidence. And I think if I owned Incredible, I would take him to something like the Ohio Derby, something like that. Get him a little bit lower in class because he don't want no part of the big boys. And that, I mean, that's what I see out of that race.
Yeah, I'm posting the final order of finish. Of course, Napoleon Solo. Now, when you said get right, I think you're talking about the feet problems he had that we really didn't know about going into the Wood Memorial. Apparently, he was racing with glue-on shoes, not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
Unbridled Song ran with glue-on shoes back 30 years ago, and it really cost him the Derby, I think.
Oh yeah, he'd have won the Derby for sure. He turned for home in front, and his foot
Yeah.
started bothering him with them glue-on shoes. So
Yeah, his feet betrayed him throughout his career. I think he could have been one of the all-time greats, but
yeah,
uh, and Unbridled Song is actually the grandsire of Napoleon Solo. So that's an interesting fact, but something to watch maybe going forward. Maybe he passed those feet issues down. Yeah, Iron Honor second, Chip Poncho third. Chip Poncho's the type of horse probably needs his own way. He'll probably pop up in one of these races like Ohio Derby or West Virginia Derby or something like that where he can get an easy lead. Bull by the Horns ran well. He was running at the end. I think he was like next to last at the top of the stretch.
yep,
The Hell We Did was a terrible selection by me. A horse that probably I think he's got a bright future, but just not ready at this level yet. Maybe down the road. Great White did what we thought he would do. Robusta actually had trouble going into the first turn, but another horse I think probably needs a rest. You know, Taj Mahal, not a good favorite. Chrono de Oro was a mystery. He should have been on the lead, and instead John Velasquez took him back early. And then talking never fired Kruper out of his league. Pretty Boy Maya kind of took the worst of it going in the first turn. I think he was 4 or 5 wide going in that first turn, and oh yeah, it ran like a horse that bled. But although I'm just surmising, I don't have any facts there. So
yep.
uh,
I think you covered it.
Belmont Stakes in less than 3 weeks now on June 6th.
Yep. We
Let's
saw the
take
JV game. Now it's the varsity.
Yeah, let's take a look at this graphic. Horses under consideration for the Belmont Stakes. We'll go into more depth later on in the coming weeks, but of course you get the top two finishers of the Derby: Golden Tempo and Renegade. 1, 2, the horses that closed into a collapsing Derby pace. Chief Wallaby, no doubt, had some trouble to get up for fourth. Another horse that should be thriving here. It gets that 4 week break. Ocelli under consideration again. I'm like you. No excuses in the Preakness. I don't know why they're continuing on with him,
He
but
should be in a maiden race on that day.
absolutely. Commandment. Uh, Interested to see what he can do. Commandment. Really, no excuses.
I want to know who's going to ride him. You can't put Saez back on him. You can't.
Who else is there? Giroux.
I mean, Florent Giroux fits him better than Saez does. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I mean,
Well,
Saez just doesn't fit him. I mean,
he's
I
not going to get.
love Saez. I bet on Saez all the time, but I will not bet on him on a dirt closer. And he is on a dirt closer. They got to go to somebody else. I
You're not
mean,
going to get Pratt. Pratt's going to be on the Chad Brown horse. You're not going to get. I mean, Giroux would be one of the ones that Cox uses. Rad is going to ride Renegade.
could you
Uh,
get? Well, I guess you probably can't get Gaffleone. He'll probably stick with Ocelli, but you might be able to.
yeah, that's a good point.
I
I'll
mean,
give you one. What about Edgar Zayas? He rode for Cox a little bit down in Florida.
what about Johnny V?
Johnny V. Yeah, that's true.
I
That's true.
mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He won with Animal Kingdom. I mean, he can ride closers.
Emerging market. A horse I'm interested in. The word is that he threw a shoe early. I don't know how they know this, but early into the first turn, they said he threw a shoe,
Huh.
and Pratt had him in a perfect position turning for home. He flattened out.
Yeah,
Uh,
just wasn't good enough.
I would like.
I mean, I like him. I just don't know. Is he better than Wallaby and Renegade?
You give me 10 to 1, I'll find out real quick. How about that?
Right, right.
But he
Because
probably,
don't you think Renegade will probably be 2-1?
yes, I think, yeah, that's your favorite. Golden Tempo, second choice.
Chief Wallaby will probably be 5 or 6-1.
Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know. I think they'll hammer him too. I
Well,
don't
I
know.
mean, if
I think
Renegade's 2-1 and the Derby winner's 7-2, I don't
uh,
know.
just,
I mean,
just judging, just my initial opinion. I think Renegade, Golden Tempo, Chief Wallaby will take the majority of the money. Commandment, Emerging Market will be less than 10 to 1, and then everybody else.
everybody else big. Yeah, I agree with that. Now the question is, where's the pace going to come from?
I've spelled it wrong. It's Chip Honcho, not Chief Honcho won the Jim Dandy about 35 years ago.
Yeah,
But
it's Chip.
I've always messed this up. But it's Chip Honcho. Chip Honcho probably is your pace setter if they decide to go. Which you know, unless
So happy, I guess, could run early.
yeah, I don't think
Talk
they
to me,
want to.
Jimmy. I don't know much about Talk to Me, Jimmy.
Right, right,
I'm gonna have to do some research on him. Growth equity. I mean, he's okay.
right,
You know,
right. Up and comer.
Peter Pan win was a good win.
Chad Brown said Otenyo got sick after the bluegrass, I believe. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm not certain I want to take anything out of that bluegrass though.
No, I think I'm zeroing in on the same ones you are: Renegade, Chief Wallaby, Commandment, Emerging Market. It's just going to determine, who rides and what posts and what the prices are, and like you said, we'll go in it as we get closer in a different video. But those are the horses. Renegade really impressed me in the Derby. I didn't think he would hit the board. My dad was convinced he would, and watching that replay several times, I mean, he's legitimate, man.
He got butchered. He got butchered. He probably should have. I mean, it's easy to say after the fact. I mean, he did have a hole open up, but Oselli closed it on him real quick, and I'll go to my grave saying Oselli should have been disqualified.
Oh,
But
absolutely should have been disqualified.
yeah,
How did they not look at that?
right. Well, they just don't. They just don't.
Yeah, they were up there watching movies on the NBC thing. It showed they had movies on the other screen.
Right, right, right.
Only our game.
All right. Before we go, got a couple questions for you. I didn't prep you on this. I'm sorry in advance. If you had to name the top 3-year-old in the country right now, who do you think it is?
Renegade.
I'll go with Crude Velocity. I think he's the best. That's cheating though. That's cheating because he's not a classic distance type.
I
But
love him. God knows I bet enough money on him.
yeah. Uh, and then finally, the who is the horse? Let's see. I don't know how I want to put this. Where does Napoleon Solo fit amongst the best? Is he top notch, or is this just one of those deals where he caught a really weak Preakness, or where do you see him going forward?
You know, if you just take out mile and a quarter races and we just talk about like mile and an eighth, which a lot of these moving forward are going to be a mile and an eighth, even into his four-year old year. A lot of the big graded races are a mile and an eighth. I think he's in the top five. Um, I don't think he's better than Renegade, Chief Wallaby, Commandment, the Puma. So maybe he's top seven because then you got Golden Tempo, Emerging Market. He's probably in that 5 to 7 range. But he does have something that most of these, other than Chief Wallaby, don't. And that's that tractable speed, where the rider can really be tactical on the outside or, sitting 1, 2. And as they go on, you're going to catch a lot of short fields. There's going to be a lot of 6 horse and 8 horse fields that a horse that's got that kind of tactical, tractable speed has a monster advantage because you don't have pace meltdowns. So he could have one hell of a career. And we talked about this several times, CC. I don't know what's happened to Chad Summers. I'm happy for him, but he went from nobody would give him a horse to mind your biscuits, back to nobody would give him a horse, to now everybody loves him and he's getting good horses and he's winning with good horses. He's winning with first time starters. He's winning with graded stakes horses. So I'm happy for him. I really am. I've only met him once, and he was really nice to me on the backside of the Breeders' Cup with Mind Your Biscuits. He was really, really nice guy to me. So I don't want to say anything bad about him. I just don't know, how you kind of bounce back and forth like that. Is he going to be him? Is he going to be in the same conversation as Cherie DeVoe and Whitworth Beckman and some of these other young guys, William Walden, that are going to keep our game going? He might be, especially in New York.
Right. Last thing, the Haskell Invitational probably will come up a really tough race. You're going to have Napoleon Solo. You're going to have Iron Honor, probably Crude Velocity, I would think, and then the Puma, I believe, is going to show up there as well. That should be that's a heck of a race. So looking forward to that.
Ooh,
That's way down the line, but well, roughly 2 months away. So
I just can't wait for the Puma return. No, now I like him even more, knowing that he had issues because he could be better than all of them as a 4-year-old.
right,
He's really good. We just got to get him healthy and Crude Velocity. Can he stretch out? That's the question. Do they
right.
turn him back in the Breeders' Cup to a mile and be the next run happy? Win it as a 3-year-old? That could certainly happen. Do they put him in the junior varsity race, the mile that shouldn't even be part of the Breeders' Cup? Or do they try a mile and a quarter? If you're ever going to do it, it's a Keeneland.
I'm
Because
all
they go wire to wire all the time in the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland.
right,
So,
right.
all right, my man, that was fun.
All right. Yep, that's all for now. Want to remind you, like and subscribe this channel, and tell us who you think is the best 3-year-old in the comments. Tell us your thoughts about the Preakness. Tell us who you like in the upcoming Belmont Stakes. That's all from now. I'm CC Broaddus. This is Dan Cronin beside me with FatBallGuyRacing.com. Check it out. We'll see you soon.